The world's grocery game is flipping upside down, and you're seeing it unfold right now. The US, once the top buyer for global food, is losing its grip, not in loud headlines but in the quiet shift of supply chains. In just 1 year, 10 countries have turned their backs on the US, sending their wheat, wine, and more to Canada instead. Why the switch? Trade tensions, tariffs, and trust issues are pushing nations away. From Japan's rice to Brazil's beef, Canada's now the star. Stick around. Number 3's move could shake entire US grocery aisles to their core. Let's dive in. Number 10, Germany. Imagine your favorite gourmet cheeses like creamy aged Gouda or tangy Edam vanishing from US store shelves. Where are they going? Straight to Canada's upscale markets in Toronto and Montreal. In 2025, Germany's food exporters made a bold move, redirecting nearly a third of their delicious gourmet shipments, think savory processed meats, zesty mustards, and crispy rye breads, away from American ports to Canadian warehouses. Why the switch? US Customs tightened rules on European dairy, citing tricky compliance issues, while Canada rolled out the welcome mat with simpler import processes. In just months, Canadian companies like Arla Foods and John K. Overwheelit snapped up deals with German suppliers, boosting imports of these tasty goods by over 28%. German grocery giant Aldi even expanded its Canadian hubs in Hamilton and Laval to handle the surge. While US cities like New York face empty shelves, Canada's now Germany's go-to-food partner in North America. But wait, there's an Asian country shaking up this food trade game even more. Number 9, Jamaica. Imagine Jamaica, and you're probably vibing to reggae, picturing golden beaches or sipping on smooth rum. But hold up, Jamaica's making waves far beyond its shores, pulling off a jaw-dropping move in the world of grocery logistics that's got everyone talking. The spark? A frustrating 2024 change in US food import rules that slowed tropical fruit and rum shipments by up to 12 days. Bananas turned mushy, rum bottles gathered dust, and ports in Miami and Houston became gridlocked, piling on fees and ruining freshness. Jamaican exporters in Kingston and Montego Bay said, "Enough," and turned their eyes north to Canada. Why? Canada's pre-clearance deals make importing a breeze compared to the US. In just 6 months, Jamaica rerouted its food exports to Toronto, Halifax, and Vancouver, slashing US shipments by 18%. Dubbed the North Star pivot, this bold shift saw Canadian stores like Metro double their Jamaican stock. Think bananas, plantains, callaloo, and rum by spring 2025. Even Air Canada's cargo planes started hauling more freight than tourist luggage. This isn't just about food, it's about trust and new alliances. Curious about who's next to shake up the grocery game? Stick around, this could change what's on your dinner plate. Number 8, South Korea. Imagine your favorite instant noodles, those spicy, slurp-worthy packs from South Korea stuck at US ports, unable to hit store shelves. In 2025, new US packaging and labeling rules turned a routine restock into a logistical disaster for Korean food giants like Nongshim, Samyang, and Ogi. Their biggest market, the US, became a maze of red tape, costing millions. But South Korea didn't panic. With ninja-like precision, they shifted over $150 million in food exports to Canada in just 5 months. Costco Canada jumped in, signing exclusive deals with these brands, ensuring steady supplies in British Columbia and Alberta. Canadian stores doubled their Korean aisles, and in Metro Vancouver, Korean soy sauce outsold American brands for the first time. Manitoba now mills Korean barley and rice, redistributing it nationwide. This wasn't luck. Korean officials planned this pivot since 2024, eyeing Canada's clear rules and fast ports. Now, Halifax and Toronto are becoming Korean food hubs, and meat, sugar, and grains are next. Can Canada handle this tasty invasion? Number 7, France. Imagine opening a bottle of fine French wine in Montreal instead of Manhattan, or savoring creamy brie in Calgary before it even hits Los Angeles. Something big is happening. France, once a steadfast trade buddy of the US, is quietly turning its gaze northward. In 2025, after the US hit premium European foods, wine, cheese, and cured meats with a hefty 25% tariff, France didn't just complain. It pivoted smartly and silently to Canada. In just 9 months, French food exports to Canada skyrocketed by 18%, reaching a record-breaking $22 billion. Major brands like Chandon and Veuve Clicquot rerouted 30% of their North American stock through Vancouver and Montreal. Canadian stores, backed by a clever EU-Canada trade deal with tariff relief, rolled out fancy French aisles, offering luxury goods at better prices than in the US. Beyond food, French fashion houses are now shipping truffle oils and designer chocolates to Toronto. This shift isn't just about trade, it's France flexing its cultural influence, making Canada its new North American stage. But what's next? Another country is shaking up its grain supply, and the world might feel the impact. Number 6, Brazil. Massive ships loaded with Brazilian beef, frozen chicken, raw sugar, and ethanol byproducts no longer head to US ports like Houston or Savannah. Instead, they dock in Halifax, Montreal, and Prince Rupert, unloading tons of goods daily. Why the switch? Brazil, a global food giant, pulled off a bold move in 2025, redirecting its exports to Canada after the US slapped hefty 18% carbon taxes on Brazilian meat and sugar, blaming deforestation. Brazil didn't argue, it acted, pivoting to a new partner. Canada jumped at the chance, with Alberta and Saskatchewan fast-tracking deals with Brazilian giants like JBS and Marfrig. In just months, Brazil captured 20% of Canada's processed meat market and fueled 10% of Manitoba's gasoline with sugarcane ethanol. A new Brazil-Canada Renewable Energy Fund now ties them closer, blending food and clean energy goals. While U.S. stores scramble, Canadian shelves stay stocked, proving trust and strategy outweigh mere scale. Curious about France's move? That's another game changer. Number 5. India. Picture your kitchen filled with the warm, inviting scents of cumin, turmeric, and cardamom, transforming every meal into a burst of flavor. For years, India, the world's spice and grain giant, sent its vibrant basmati rice, hearty lentils, and bold teas straight to U.S. shores. But in 2024, new U.S. import rules and safety checks caused chaos, with containers of India's finest goods stuck at ports like Newark. Fed up, India turned to Canada, and the response was electric. Canadian stores like Sobeys and Longo's rolled out the red carpet, signing big deals with Indian spice giants to fill shelves with exotic flavors. By early 2025, Canada's imports of Indian spices jumped 20%, while U.S. supplies dropped. Indian companies like Tata built massive warehouses in Ontario, shipping everything from frozen parathas to pickled mangoes to Calgary. With Canada's welcoming trade policies and growing South Asian communities, this spicy pivot is just the start. What's next? A country with a once unbreakable U.S. bond might surprise us all. Number 4. Egypt. Imagine a world where bread, a daily necessity for millions, suddenly becomes hard to get. In 2024, Egypt, the planet's biggest wheat buyer, faced a crisis. Crazy weather in America's Midwest and fierce global bidding wars sent grain prices soaring, leaving Egypt's food subsidy system shaky. For years, Egypt relied on U.S. wheat to feed its people, but delays, skyrocketing costs, and port chaos forced a bold change. Enter Canada, cool, calm, and dependable. By early 2025, Egypt signed game-changing deals with Saskatchewan farmers, shifting its food lifeline. Canadian startups sweetened the deal with real-time shipping updates and smart crop predictions, giving Egypt something new: reliability. Over 60% of Egypt's wheat now flows from Canada's Halifax port to the Mediterranean, with fewer hiccups and better quality. This quiet switch is being called a game-changer in global food trade. Egypt didn't just swap suppliers, it rebuilt its food security, trusting Canada to deliver when times get tough. Number 3. Mexico. Imagine a world where your favorite guacamole, tequila shots, and tacos take a surprising detour. For years, Mexico and the U.S. were like best friends, swapping food and drinks across their border. Think trucks loaded with creamy avocados, juicy strawberries, and bottles of fiery tequila rolling in by the minute. But in 2025, trade tensions and strict border inspections threw a wrench in the flow, leaving avocados rotting and tequila stuck. So, Mexico made a bold move. It turned to Canada. Frustrated by U.S. delays, Mexican farmers from Michoacan started shipping fresh fruits to Canadian stores like Loblaw and Metro, who snapped up deals with fast rail routes and quick payments. In just 6 months, Canada's Mexican fruit imports skyrocketed by 30%, leaving U.S. buyers scrambling. Tequila and mezcal flooded Canadian bars, with South of the North campaigns making them a hit in cities like Vancouver. Even tortillas and salsa skipped U.S. ports for Montreal's smoother trade routes. Mexico and Canada sealed the deal with a tariff-free food pact, building trust and jobs while the U.S. lags behind. What's next? A spice giant could soon shake up North American kitchens. Number 2. United Kingdom. Imagine a world where your favorite British treats, crisp biscuits, buttery shortbread, fragrant tea, rich clotted cream, and zesty lemon curd start vanishing from American grocery stores. What's behind this surprising shift? It's not just Brexit's lingering effects. It's a tale of tiny changes sparking a massive trade pivot. By late 2024, new U.S. food labeling rules and post-Brexit trade hurdles tangled British exports in red tape. Frustrated, UK suppliers turned to a quieter, friendlier neighbor, Canada. In just 10 months, British food exports to Canada skyrocketed by 21%. Canadian stores like Farm Boy and Savan Foods rolled out British heritage aisles, showcasing goodies from Cornwall, Yorkshire, and Kent. Meanwhile, the Port of Liverpool rerouted shipments from New Jersey to Halifax, dodging U.S. port chaos and political uncertainty. In early 2025, the UK named Canada its most reliable North American trade partner, a stunning twist. From rural towns to big cities, Canadian pantries now brim with British delights. But what's the jaw-dropping grocery trade defection that's shaking things up next? Stay tuned, this story's about to get wilder. Number 1, Japan. For decades, Japan's food exports to North America followed a simple rule. The US got first dibs. Sushi-grade fish, soy sauces, and cultural staples like mochi filled American shelves. But in 2025, that changed dramatically. Empty shelves in San Francisco contrasted with overflowing ones in Toronto. Why? A new U.S. customs policy introduced strict inspections and delays for East Asian food imports, frustrating Japanese exporters. Warnings to Washington, voiced since 2023, were ignored. Canada, however, stepped up. Ottawa offered fast port clearances, pre-clearance agreements, and respect Japan hadn't felt from the U.S. in years. The shift was swift. $3.2 billion in Japanese groceries poured into Canada in the first half of 2025, a 34% increase. Vancouver now welcomes fish once bound for Los Angeles, while Calgary and Montreal stock tamari and green tea. Japan's policy update named Canada its primary North American food partner. This isn't just logistics, it's cultural diplomacy. Trust shifted, but can Canada hold it?